A Catholic father of three writes a new book using the Beatitudes as a practical guide to understanding how God's love can help men be better fathers. Earlier, I sat down with the author. Joining us now is Dr. Greg Popcak, author of the BeDADitudes, 8 Ways to be an Awesome Dad. Greg, what does it take to be an awesome dad? Let's start with the obvious.
Well, the first thing I think it takes is that humility. The first beatitude that I take all of these beatitudes, by the way, or beatitudes from Jesus's beatitudes on the Sermon on the Mount. And the first thing it takes is the humility to recognize that being a dad is all on the job training. None of us really know what we're doing, right? So we have to be willing to go to God the Father and ask him, what kind of a father does he want us to be? To go to our wife and kids and ask them, what do you need from us? And by being willing to ask those questions, we're able to learn how to be the father our family needs.
How can the Beatitudes, specifically those values, help men become better fathers?
Well, like I said, but first of all, by cultivating a listening heart, right? Pope Francis said that the Beatitudes are a blueprint for Christian living. And as I prayed through those reflections, it occurred to me that the Beatitudes really reveal to us not just what we need to do, but it also gives us an idea of how God the Father relates to us, his children. He exercised that poverty of spirit by emptying himself and giving himself to us. He exercises that mourning whenever he has that compassionate heart for our struggles. And so by modeling ourselves after the way God the Father relates to us, we can be living out that fullness of Christian masculinity and fatherhood.
You yourself have 3 children. How did your own personal experience as a father contribute to this book?
Well, what I've always looked at parenthood and marriage as a spiritual exercise first and foremost. And I really recognize that God gives us the kids we need. And by responding to the unique needs that God has written on each child's heart, we grow in ways that we'd never think of growing if it was up to us. And so, I've been challenged in beautiful ways to grow in all kinds of ways by responding to my kids. And I'm really grateful for their influence on me and for the opportunity to hopefully lead them closer to the Lord and help them become the people God created them to be as well.
Well, it's a tough society that we live in. Families have so many demands, and parents are often stressed with work issues and shuttling the kids to activities, household tasks, everything else. How can dads help families find the right balance and some peace in the family?
Well, I think the number one thing is recognizing that families aren't accessories, but rather activity. Family life is an activity, right? So instead of just sort of seeing family as something that I have, I realize it's something that I have to work at, that I have to make time for. So we talk in the book about the importance of creating rituals of connection around 4 areas of family life: work, play, talk, and prayer. And making sure that we're having at least a little time, even 2 or 3 minutes a day, to work together on something, to play together in some way, to pray together as a family, and finally to play together as well and have some laughs. Making family life an activity and creating those rituals of connection really allows us to prioritize family life as opposed to letting it fit in as the last thing I have to do after all the other jobs are accomplished.
A whole host of really important lessons there. Greg Popcak, author of the BeDADitudes, 8 Ways to be an Awesome Dad. Thanks so much for talking with us about it.
A pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.